Greetings all and welcome to Dave's Craft Room. And on today's video, I have my drawer here full of Kaffe Fassett Fabric. And we're gonna make a quilt out of Kaffe Fassett Fabric today. I did make one other quilt out of Kaffe Fassett Fabric, and on that day, I used all fabric from one line, the Woven Stripes collection. This is all very potpourri. This is all different lines from all different eras, and all I did was go on eBay or some Etsy or somewhere online and search for Kaffe Fassett Fabric, and this is what I have. I've been holding on to this for a while, waiting for an idea to strike, and now I have multiple ideas. So we're gonna do one. I think this is probably enough to make multiple quilts out of it. It has to be, but I never know because I never measure anything. Recently, I saw this quilt on Pinterest. I'll put a link to this person's blog spot. I thought it would look good in Kaffe Fassett Fabric. This block is generally called a Drunkard's Path block. I don't really vibe with that name because we don't need to trivialize alcoholism, and I don't even drink myself, so I don't want to call it a Drunkard's Path block. I looked this up online. Apparently other people feel the same way, and there's alternative names for it. Actually, if you look at like quilt blocks, any quilt block you can find is gonna have like multiple names to it. Every block has multiple names. A name can refer to multiple blocks. I've seen at this point like 4 different quilt blocks that are all called Robbing Peter to Pay Paul. So we can call it a different name, and online I found an alternative name which was the Wanderer in the Wilderness. So we're gonna call it the Wanderer in the Wilderness. And just like J.R.R.R. Tolkien said, not all those that wander are lost. All that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars make the mold. That might have been someone else. We're gonna call it Wanderer in the Wilderness, and we're gonna wander in the wilderness of Kaffe Fassett Fabric today. I don't know that that person in the Pinterest post had a pattern. We don't need a pattern, it's just one block. It's one block, 2 different sizes. The smaller one has to be exactly a quarter of the size of the bigger one. So the easiest way to do that is gonna be 10 inches and 5 inches. I'm ironing construction paper right now. The construction paper is in my closet rolled up. I'm gonna make templates. Generally speaking, you would wanna make templates out of cardstock. I don't have any, nor can I find anything close enough that's at least 10 inches, so I'm just doing, the construction paper, this kind is a little bit thicker than printer paper, so it'll be good enough. I do not really know what I'm doing, but let's see if we can figure it out. So let me think about it. If that's 10 inches, it can be whatever size I want. It's as long as the smaller one is half the size of the larger one, which is to say a quarter of the size. I just have to consider the seam allowances. So if I make the one 10 inches, that's actually pretty big. I don't know that I want them that big. Let me just start with this 10-inch square. Really, I need 2 though. I need 2 because the inside piece and the outside piece have to have a 1/4 inch seam allowance added to them. So I can't just cut one block out of one 10-inch square. Why is this not perfect? It's not perfect. Sorry, I have to do it again. All right, so I have my compass here, and because math, if I have a radius of 4 inches and I start precisely in the corner, it's gotta be bigger than that, 6 inches. I think even bigger than that. Compass doesn't go bigger. That's not big enough. The big ones have to be big enough that when I cut it in half to make the small ones are not too small for me to even deal with. So maybe I'll split the difference. I'll make them 9 inches. It's just that 9 inches isn't super fun to have to cut in half. Then you get into quarters and all that stuff, and the brain doesn't like it. But we will cope. We will do mathematics on the channel today. That's good. This is 7-inch one. 7-incher. Yes, that's perfect. So this is the T now. There are mathematical ways of doing this the right way. I don't do none of that, okay? I'm just gonna Davidize it. So what that means is it's gonna eyeball a 1/4 inch. It's not that hard, and we'll get it close enough. Why don't I have any pencils? Okay, I found a pencil with lead. Let's say this is we're gonna use this part. So I'm gonna go into the inside part and draw my 1/4 inch. It's close enough. I mean, Drunkard's path, like, you gotta do some fudging anyway. Cut this out. This is gonna be the template for the Wanderer in the Wilderness outside chunk. And I made this thinking that it's gonna be exact. I shouldn't have to add any 1/4 inch to this, because the only place that you need to add a 1/4 inch seam allowance is here, and I did that already. When we sew it into the quilt, we'll just lose the 1/4 inch on either side. That's fine. Now let me make the inside piece. Same circle size again. Oh. Now I have to add a 1/4 of an inch to the outside. One way to do this properly is to take a washer that's 1/4 inch wide, I guess. And if you had cardstock or cardboard that was thicker, you could put your pencil inside the washer and draw and butt the washer up against the cardboard. A lot of techniques that I'm just like, I could eyeball that. But I know that some people are very particular and everything has to be just so, and they need it to be right. So that's why I give the tip. But I just eyeball everything. I can save these for the 5-inch one. So what I have here, these two pieces are not gonna fit into each other right now because there's a 1/4 inch extra on the convex piece and a 1/4 inch extra on the concave piece. That's because when we join them, there's gonna be a seam allowance inside. Oh geez, what size did I land on? 9 inches, right? Okay, great. Okay, 9 inches, cut that in half, that's 4.5 inches. Add a seam allowance to only one side, that's now 4 3/4 of an inch. So my next one has got to be 4 3/4 of an inch. It's pretty small. Then let's see, I can do this 3 inches or just a little under 3 inches. It's going to be iffy, but I think it'll work. They have to be perfect, and they are. I eyeballed them. Oh, I got all that out of one piece of construction paper. I didn't need multiple. Just wasted that. Oh well. What next? Washable markers. I can tell the people of the world, all of these like marking pens that they make for quilts and stuff, none of it is as good as washable Crayola markers. I use these all the time and they wash right out. Okay, I want to do some more math. Well, I don't want to do more math, but I have to do more math. So we got a 9-inch block. Look, it still says Go West on there. This is dusty. Oh, now I destroyed it. Oh! So there will be 9-inch blocks. 9 times 9 is 81. 9 times 8.
8 blocks across by 9. 8 times 9 is 72. Yeah, 8 times 9 is 72. A 1/4 of those, 4 goes into 72. 18 times, 18 of the blocks need to be the small Wanderer in the Wilderness. Therefore, I've got to multiply that times 4.
Wait, right? Is that true? I lost my thread. Let me start over. 1 times 4 is 4. How many times does 4 go into 32? Oh, we're missing a row. Maybe we take out a row. As if I know what 7 times 8 is. 56 total. I know it's divisible by 4 because it's divisible by 8. What I'm getting at here is that there are going to be 7 by 8 blocks of the big one size. So 7 by 8, 9.5-inch blocks. That's 56 blocks total, but I want a 1/4 of those to be made up of the small ones. 4 of these will make up one of those. Therefore, that's 14 of these by 4. So 14 times 4 is 56. Right, because I just divided 56 by 4 and got 14. So now, now I could multiply it back. Okay, you know what? We're not math geniuses, but we get there. We get there. That's all that matters. So I need to make 56 of these and then take 56 minus 14. That's 242, and make that number of these. Good. Let's erase this and get this math off of here. So I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna cut out my pieces. I'm gonna trace using the marker. I'm gonna cut out and cut them out, and let's do it. And let's get this party started. I am cutting out my template pieces at this time, and since I'm working with kind of random scraps here, I used any piece that was too small to get a big block out of to make the smaller blocks, and I set the bigger pieces aside so I could make sure I'd have enough of them. You can see here that these are cave prints from many different lines of his. I really didn't keep track of what any of the fabrics are called. I just know that they're Kaffe Fassett prints. And I surely do go freehand with the rotary cutter on the curves. Alright, I'm gonna be ready to sew them soon. And you may have noticed I don't normally pin, but however, with curved piecing, you do have to pin. The best thing to do is really finger press a crease right there in the middle. And then I'm gonna line these edges up, pin it. Line the two creases up. I know you probably can't see them on camera right now. The middle, so I know where the middle is. Pin it. And then, again here, line those edges up. And that's it. If it would have been bigger, I might need more pins, but, and that's it. You have your wonky, messed up little thing. This is not my favorite thing to piece curved like this, but it will work. When I turned the camera off, I made one, and it turned out quite decent. In all honesty, if you're a little bit very like particular where everything has to be just so, I might not recommend curved piecing because there's a lot of fudging happening. By the way, I cut these up and I just turned this one over, and that way they won't match. I definitely don't want to sew two of the same ones together, even if they're not the same, but if there's not enough contrast between them, like these are good. These are good, you know what I mean? I won't choose them. There has to be a lot of contrast between them. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this until I run out of pins, then I'll sew them together. Alright, so I definitely got sick of pinning them, which is why I don't normally pin in the first place. I think I can just hold them. Just move the first, I pinned just the middle. And I think it's gonna go so much faster if I just pin the middle. Hold this here. I mean, this pin gets pulled out almost before the first stitch anyway. Hold it. Move right along. And then move this into position here. Yeah, that works fine. I would rather just do the one pin instead of the two. Who's got time to sit there and pin? I decided to show one in real time so you could kind of see how I do it. People often comment that I need to slow down the video so you can see better, and that's kind of why I always try to say, like, it's not a tutorial, it's really a time-lapse video, so we're probably not gonna slow down, but I will just show you this curve. It's really not as hard as its reputation would have you believe. It's just a matter of coaxing the concave fabric into position around the convex piece to make them line up, and that's literally all there is to it. You can use as many pins as you want to help you line up the pieces. If you're new to my channel, I put out quilt videos like this every other Tuesday, and if you like my videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. it this way. I want full circles done. I'm gonna sew up some full circles. Alright, the quilt top is done, and I'm gonna quilt it using my John Flynn quilt frame, which is downstairs, but I'll get it. I have here the blue backing. I already pieced this backing off camera. It's blue, and then this is the polyester batting. This is twin batting. I have not used the John Flynn quilt frame in a long time, so I just decided to use it. I have been so annoyed with the various other basting methods that I've been using recently, so I'm gonna get the John Flynn frame going, and let's go. At some point, I decided that I would give this to my mom for Christmas, which meant it had to be perfect. So I decided to hand sew the binding on using a ladder stitch, and I also mitered the corners. I usually prefer folded over corners in quilts, but my mom likes the mitered corners, so I just decided to miter them. And this is the final result. That's gonna be all for today's video. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel, and please come again.